I just got done playing a ducking sim. I don't want to do this. But Yobos, we to play Printed Brushworks of YouTube. I haven't played every single Bubsy game. I played the first, I liked the first, and then I tried the second, and I never want to play it ever again. With all that said, what about the third? And no, I don't mean Bubsy 3D. Well, I'm about to find out. Is Bubsy and Fractured FurryTales the worst platformer ever made? I feel like Bubsy 3D already holds that, but we're about to find out, I guess. So welcome to my reaction to this.
Is not the third Bubsy game.
What the hell is that?
Well,
Bubsy and Fractured FurryTales is actually the third Bubsy game that, no one talks about, and I can't really blame them. Also, even though I called this the third Bubsy game, it might even be the fourth Bubsy game. You call Bubsy 2 on Game Boy the third game, because that's kind of different than the second one. Though that's kind of a stretch, and who really cares? Anyway, time for a history lesson. In 1993, Accolade signed an agreement with Atari to become a third-party developer for the Jaguar, and they licensed the original Bubsy to be ported to the console. But because it was already kind of old at that point, they decided to make an original title, and Bubsy Fractured FurryTales was made. The game was produced by Fair and Thompson, who worked on Cybermorph, which has this, if you know what this is from.
Where did you learn to fly?
The game itself was developed by Imagitech Design, which also made the game called The Humans, which is apparently a pretty good Lemmings clone. Bubsy released in December of 1994 and sold 9,000 copies. Lemmings. 9,000. That's nothing. Though another source says it sold 50,000. Either way, not really great. Though, to be fair, though this isn't really being fair, it's me being brutal and honest as hell, no one cared about Atari anymore. People hated those guys, so no wonder it didn't sell that much. The game itself, though, came out to a mixed reception, saying that it doesn't really feel good to play. But what do I think about it?
Better than
I don't think I can take another one of these.
Hi, I'm Orenclubs, and you're watching The Worst Platformer Ever Made, a series where I play a bunch of different platforms to find which one is truly the worst. And today, we're looking at Bubsy Fractured and FurryTales. So let's start with an overview. Where do I even begin with this?
If I got the
of
furry
course, I'm
collection,
comparing this to the other two counterparts, Bubsy 1 and Bubsy 2. So if you haven't seen them, I have videos of them on my channel you can check out. But if you don't care or don't really want to watch them, I can't really do anything about that, so you do what you want to do. But this game's premise is exactly the same as the other two. It is a 2D platformer where you need to find the end goal. How exciting. To start, we'll talk about the movement. Though the movement in this game, it feels like they took the bad from Bubsy 1 and 2 and mixed them together. You can go super fast in this, like Bubsy 1, but you start off moving super slow. And then you go into a super fast sprint, making it very hard to control Bubsy. And jumping around, it kind of feels like you're on ice in the air from 2, which I complained about then. They really just put the bad together. I'm actually shocked. This might just be the worst 2D Bubsy to control I've played so far. Worse than the Game Boy one, which has you move super slow in the air. I hated moving around as Bubsy in this game. I could not stand it. You're not going to believe this as well. In the latest game, Bubsy on the Game Boy, I believe that game did not have fall damage. They took it out. Good. They did it. This game brings it back. Why? Though again, like Bubsy 1 and 2, it's not really an issue if you just glide, which you will be doing most of the time anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Because if you glide and then land on the ground, you don't take fall damage. Though in this game, I do think they increased the height you need to be at before you actually die, so they did make it a bit better. But, just remove it. Bubsy also still runs into walls in this game. Why? These two annoying mechanics add nothing to the game and make it worse by just being there. These mechanics have been in the game since Bubsy 1. How hard is it for people to learn that this isn't good? In Bubsy 2 at least, they did fix a big issue. In Bubsy 1, if you got hit once, you would die. In Bubsy 2, you can now take 3 hits before you die, which is awesome. But in this game, if you get hit once, you die. Why? One shot, you're dead. Look how quick this goes from death to respawn.
No animation for those deaths. Wait, that's it?
Why would you remove such a good upgrade to the game where you can take multiple hits instead of one?
That improves
the game drastically. Being able to take more than one hit in this game would be such a massive improvement because while this game does have a bit less enemies on the screen than the previous one, they're more aggressive in this one. For example, there is an enemy that is in almost every single level. They are these wasps, and they just fly at you from such awkward angles, and they just fly at you so fast as well.
Yeah,
it's
that
super
looked
hard to
pretty
react
quick
to
to
them
me.
flying at you since they come in so fast. And it's hard to jump on them as well because the
wish I could
hitboxes
see
in this
more
game also
pictures
suck
of them,
ass. You
but-
could jump on one of these guys and still die because the game said, nuh-uh.
guess
I'll go over some of the enemies a
YouTube
bit
said,
later when I
"No,
go
you
through the whole
can't
game,
show
but I
this
wanted to
clip."
bring up at least the wasp because it's in like almost every single level. Even the levels that aren't themed around where
I
you
like
would even find
watching
wasps.
video where
Anyway,
there's no
all
video
the
to
enemies
watch.
in this game
Thank
are annoying
you.
because, like almost every Bubsy game still, the screen is way
look
too
at the
small.
anvils.
You can't run fast and react in time to the enemies. Plus, like I said, some of the enemies move so fast you need to walk slow all the time or you are screwed. Like, look at this. Here's me jumping up the leaves, having a wonderful time. Boom! Into an enemy, instant game over. What the hell? When you die, you have to restart. But at least there's a level select in this one, though, I guess. Speaking of the levels, like I mentioned before, they have different themes in this one based off different fairy tales, such as Alice in Wonderland, Jack and the Beanstalk, and so on. But that doesn't really matter because the graphics in this game are horrible. This game doesn't really have an art style compared to 1 and 2.
It looks
feels
better
cheap.
than
For
2.
example, let's take a look at the first
I
level
will
real
die
quick.
on
the
that
platforms
hill.
in the air are just
This
floating
looks
items
better
you see
than
around the map
Bubsy
like
II.
teacups. That's just so lame. It looks off. Everything just clashes with each other. The walking flamingos don't look in place with the
floating
backdrop of the
candlestick
human enemies
isn't
here.
exactly
The style's just like fighting with itself.
great
Even the
choice.
manual of Bubsy 1 and 2 had a distinct
least
and
there's
great
a
art style
theme.
in the game in the form of a comic. But this game doesn't have a comic. It just has text. Well, I guess it's time to address the elephant in the room. Why is his exclamation point yellow? Why did they change it? The red looks so much better.
Oh,
Change it
I
back.
didn't
Now,
notice
before I
that.
go into the main game, I want to
Yeah,
talk
no,
about one
I
more
agree.
thing. The music and the sound effects. I guess it's two. I don't know. The music in this game, it's not really bad, but I don't know. It's just kind of generic.
It's gotta
Take a
be
listen.
better than 2. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, I vibe with this.
See what I mean? It's like it's fine, but it's just kind of nothing.
It's
it lacks
better
that
than
twang the first game
2.
had. The music
And
in
I
the
will
first
not
game is
stop
awesome.
saying
And as
that.
for the sound effects, I swear I can count the number of sound
That
effects in this
cat
game on
enemy,
my
though.
fingers. There's a sound effect for jumping, for getting a collectible, and jumping on an enemy, and I think that's it. What the hell? There's no sounds at all. No enemy attacks? Nothing. What? I just rewatched the boss clip as well, and yeah, there's legit nothing. Like, listen.
Is that the boss? Okay, that's not great.
Bubsy, of course, does say stuff in
They
this
don't
game, but it's
have
only like when you start a
different
level,
boss
and
music?
a very, very rare chance he'll just say something randomly in the game. So he's pretty much silent
That's
in this
not
one. He doesn't
great.
say much. But anyway, that is an
I'm sure a
overview
lot of people
the
are
entire
glad
game.
about that,
So
though.
let's go into playing the game together. So
They
let's start
really
with the
wanted
story.
Bubsy to
Non-existent.
shut up.
The manual said the fairy tales
And
are all
somehow
messed up
they
and Bubsy
actually
has to
did.
help them. That's really it. It doesn't say who messed them up. It doesn't say what happened. It just says they're messed up and Bubsy needs to fix it. Why?
Great
I don't know.
story.
I already had a voice
10 out of
recording
10.
here saying that the levels were actually different unlike Bubsy 2, but after editing this entire thing, I've realized that is a damn lie. A lot of these levels are the same, but there are some that are different. Anyway, I'm going to be going through the entire game. When you start the game, Bubsy comes flying at the screen, and I really don't know what it is, but something is off with this Bubsy.
Yeah, there's
He
the
is not
yellow.
correct. Push continue on the title screen and you're immediately sent into the game. So I guess we start level 1, which starts with the Alice in Wonderland theme. Every couple of levels the theme switches to something new to spice things up, standard game design. But for the
I
theming
guess
here,
I'm
you have teacups,
Gonna
giant
have
ass
this entire
tables with
game
stuff on them,
spoiled.
and a bunch of mushrooms.
ever
And there are
wanna
also
play
2
it.
exclusive enemies here. These card soldiers that walk really slowly and try and poke you with a spear, and this goddamn cat. This cat sucks.
Yeah.
It just appears randomly. If you move too quick, it might just pop in on you and just kill you immediately. Why? The level itself here
hate
is one
that
of my
there's no
biggest
dying
issues with the game. The
animations.
level
They
itself
took the
isn't too
charm
big, but the
out
way it's
of
designed is awful.
that
In most of the
charm in
levels,
quotation
you have
marks,
these
but
gates
still.
that you need to open, and you need a key to open them. Sure, that's fine. You
It
just
just
get the
feels
key on the
too
way, right?
instantaneous.
Wrong. Most of the time, you go to the gate, you won't have the key. So now you have to go an alternate path
have
you
to
missed, which
find
could be
a
more than one by the
key
way,
just to
and go through many different
progress
paths to
through
find
the
the key,
game?
and then go back to the gate that is now open, and then proceed to the level a bit,
hate
only to
that.
find
Did Bubsy
another
2
gate
do that?
again you need to backtrack to get the key to open the gate, so you go through that second gate you just opened, and now there's a third gate. There's a third one. So now you have to go back in the level again. You have to go all the fucking way back to get the third key to open the third gate,
that's
and then the level
inexcusable.
might be done. I can't even find my car keys
That's
in the morning.
inexcusable,
Bubsy
just
1 and
like
2
his
had
wig.
big ass levels sometimes,
Sorry.
sure, and that was
I
kind
had
of
to say
annoying.
something
but you
at
didn't
some
have to
point.
backtrack that much. This game would be so much better if you just didn't have these gates. I don't really care that it might make a lot of the level
gates-
pointless. But a lot of the
gates
level
need to
is
go.
already pointless.
Gates
Some paths just lead you to
absolutely
nothing.
need to
And as a
go.
reminder, it's not just this level. It's a lot of them. Going into this level a bit, there's even holes up ahead in the level where if you drop down them, it brings you to the start of the level. Why? For the people that for some reason actually want to try this game, I have something for you that will make your experience a bit more enjoyable.
Yeah.
There are maps online you can look at and put on your second monitor if you're lucky enough to have a second monitor, and have it by your side as you play. I know,
bummers.
some hardcore Bubsy fans will say this ruins the experience. I don't care. I say this improves it, because
I
all
feel
the
like
running
that's
around
why
you're
we
gonna have
need
to
to
do
do
is
with number
so
2.
much worse than the previous 2 games. You will literally be on a level for an hour trying to figure out where you're going. Though, with that out of the way,
With the
that's the
whole
first level. So let's
finding
move
a
on to the
key
second
just to
level. It's
unlock
pretty
the
much the same as level
spike
1,
gate.
where you need to go back and forth, back
That's
and
a
forth.
huge
There isn't
problem.
really anything new in this level.
And I'm
But I
glad
do
I'm
want to talk
finding
about
out,
this human enemy
finding
thing,
it
which is
out.
annoying. He
Finding
shoots
out
balloons
about
above
this
him, and if
through
you touch
this
the balloons,
video
you die.
than through
Okay,
my
so let's just
brothers.
wait
They
beside
would
him for a
spoil
chance to
it.
jump
They would
through. If you do that,
absolutely
he shoots
spoil it.
something out
I'm
of sides
calling
anyway.
you out,
Bullshit.
GalaxyWisp,
He
and
has an
maybe even
attack
you,
on almost
Cohen
every
Bros.
angle.
You would spoil
Why?
it.
Also, I forgot to mention, if you pause the game,
It's
the game says pause.
paused.
Cool. Why am I making these videos?
I have a feeling-
Level 3 is the
I'm
same
pretty
as
sure this
previous
was all
ones.
very
Since level
done
3 is pretty much the
before.
same as level 2 and 1, let me talk
Like,
about
in
something
the
else.
first
This
game.
game actually has the arrows that show you where to go. Sometimes. They appear if you stop moving. Sometimes. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I have
Also,
no idea
Bubsy
how
just
these arrows
pounding
spawn.
the-
When I
Hello?
AFK, they
Hello?
would appear
Anyone
maybe
know?
like 20% of the time. Not
Anyone
even.
there?
I have no clue how to summon them.
Play the
This means
game!
you barely get any guidance
I'm
at all.
obnoxious.
Unless you use the map, which I said you should anyway, on your second
I
monitor.
forgot which
Gavel.
character
Anyway,
says that.
at the end of level 3, you get a boss. What the hell is that, man?
I know what
I know
it
it's like
was.
the Mad Hatter, I think.
Yeah?
But it just looks so weird. Why is this in a Bubsy game? Anyway, this boss shoots
Animation
teacups at
could
you,
be
and I think you just have to
better.
avoid them.
If only he
That's,
could
I
turn
think, pretty
to the
much all he
right, that
does.
would
What
look
you do
better,
for this
but
boss is you jump on his head to deal damage to him.
other than
Pretty easy.
that,
But what you can do
I mean,
for
I
this
don't
boss,
know if
the correct way to deal with him,
there's
is jump
different
on the boss's
music.
head in the middle of the screen just to constantly do it over and over again
Of
to win.
course.
This boss is really nothing. The next level swaps the theme to Jack and the Beanstalk, and level 4 has the bananas from Bubsy 1 return. So that's where they went. Anyway, this level is a big beanstalk,
Everybody
surprise,
wanted
surprise.
those
And you climb
bananas
it using
back,
these leaves and vines.
particularly
And like,
the
just look
peels.
how many wasps are here. Do you see what I mean? What I meant before by there being just so many fast enemies you can't react to? Like, this is nuts. For this level, once you get up high enough, you need to do a leap of faith to progress.
I'm
By
surprised
jumping into an area,
that
you can't
Vulture
tell
didn't
what's even
drop the
there.
anvil right
Fun
then and
times.
there.
But after a bunch of climbing, which this level is pretty much, that's all this level is, you beat the level. Except you don't. Because if you don't kill the enemy that's near the goal, Bubsy will automatically run into it and die during his win animation. What? On to level 5.
No!
This has a snail enemy with a house that I actually like a
What
lot.
is
If you get too
this?
close to it, it puts on an out to lunch
Freaking-
sign on it, which is pretty
I
funny.
can't
Though
remember.
pretty much the same premise here. Climb the beanstalk.
This-
Though a
that
couple of
feels
the
like a
last levels were
troll.
decently
That
sized
feels
to
like
big.
one of those
This is where the game has another
modded
major issue
trolls.
that I can't stand. A lot of these
Cat
levels
Mario.
are
Cat
massive,
Mario feels
and
like
it specifically
freaking Cat
sucks here
Mario.
because everything
Except
looks
this
the
is in
same.
a real
Everything is
effing
just
game.
green. This level also introduces a new
It was
annoying
made
mechanic:
by
invisible platforms that you can only
a
find by
company.
jumping into them. Some of them are even required to beat the game. Why would you do this? This game, like Bubsy 1 and 2, also has doors that you can go in and then it'll spit you out somewhere else in the level. Very common stuff. Sometimes it's a really useful shortcut, like in this level. Other times, it spits you back out way behind the level into a place that you've already been to before.
Of
Why?
course it does.
But anyway, that's this level. On to
Still
level
better
6,
than Bubsy
and it turns
2.
into a castle at the top, which is accurate to the fairy
Kind
tale.
of.
I think.
It has
I
its
haven't
pros
read
and
the
cons,
original.
for sure.
I'm only going off the 1 billion pieces of media
But
that's
I'd
made from
easily
the
get
original
lost in
Jack and
Bubsy
Beanstalk
2.
story. Anyway, every level up until this point had some annoying designs about it, sure. But this level has one of the worst things I've ever seen. This level has a bunch of small hallways in the castle. In them are enemies, and their body covers the entire hallway, so you can't jump over them. What you need to do is slowly bait them out of the hallway, but if you get too close to them, they bend way over the screen and just stab you. So you have to slowly, don't get too close to them, but just stay close enough to them that they don't stab you,
jump out
and guide them out of the
correct
hallway.
angle and just
And you
hit
have
them.
to do this like 3 to 5 times.
gonna guess
But once you
no.
get past that mess,
Yeah,
you're
no,
on to
that's-
the boss. Which again,
Well, that's once
what
again
the hell
really
is
bad.
that?
What?
Is he supposed to be like a fake giant or something? I have no idea. It's the same as the last
Well, it's
boss.
certainly
Just
not
get
the
on top
aliens
of him
from the
and jump
first
on his
game.
head as usual. But this boss has a horrible hitbox. I hit him here. Why did I die? Anyway, like I said, if you get lucky, you won't get randomly hit by the boss, and you just have to keep jumping on him over and over again and win. It's nothing too crazy. I think the boss only shot something at me like once.
Wow.
Nothing has happened in either of the bosses. Wow. Level 7 brings us to
Also, the
Arabian Nights
flag-
in the desert,
the
and
animation
surprisingly,
for the
I actually
flag
like this
just
level. Nothing is too
clips
crazy
at
here.
one
The enemies are
point.
mostly
The
in
full
okay
animation's
spots that
not
aren't annoying to
there.
deal with. It's just these dudes with swords that are the exclusive enemy here, and they're really
How
not that
much
bad to deal
of your
with. There
arse
was a
did you
decent bit to this
use
level,
making
but
this
this level had a
game?
door I found that pretty much just brought me to the end of it. Maybe that's why I'm fine with this level, because I skipped most of it. But did you notice? The wasps are finally gone. For now. On to level 8, it has these dragons, I think now. Maybe they're like lizards, but you can't jump on them. They kind of just sit there. They're also
Stop it,
exclusive to
Bubsy.
this world. There's also more exclusive ones. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Though this level is also good like the last one. And unlike the
Are you
last one, I
supposed to
actually
do
played through
that?
all this level, and it's really not that bad. I think it's good because it's
Probably.
linear. Who would have thought? On to level 9, and the game sucks ass again. What a surprise. It goes back to the switches and the gates thing, where you go back and forth and back and forth. Like, come on, you showed with the last couple of levels you didn't have to do this. There's a part where you need to jump down this hole, and it's a leap of faith. And you have to go this way to beat the level. But if you do this, you just fall into the spikes. What? But once you're done that, you get to the end.
I mean, at
and you
least
fight
if
the
you
boss.
rub against the wall,
What the
you're
hell
safe.
is this boss? To be honest, this boss actually has a unique mechanic, and I actually don't mind this boss too much. This boss is a genie, I think, and she flies around and shoots fireballs at you. Sometimes she spawns a gun, and if you jump on the boss enough times, she goes down for a small bit. Basically, you stun her. And if you keep jumping on the boss like this, you'll just keep stunning her over and over again and nothing will happen. What you actually need to do is jump on the purple jar until it breaks. Only then will the boss go down after you jump on her enough times. But that is pretty much it. On to level 10, and we get a
Okay.
new theme. A water theme, full of fish enemies and Bubsy in a bubble,
I'm sure
which is a cool
everybody wants
idea.
that.
But I don't know what fairy tale that is. Yeah, there isn't really much here to relate to a fairy tale that I can see. Though
That's
it could
true.
just be a knowledge check I'll
What's
act.
the Little
closest
Mermaid's
thing
a
I can
fairy
think
tale?
of is the Little Mermaid, but I don't remember the Little Mermaid having
Beat me
these
to it.
horrible submarines. I know I'm skipping a
Okay,
bit,
well,
but I
there
need to
was
talk
no
about this.
submarines in
This
Little
level
Mermaid, so-
and all the water levels have a submarine, which is basically a giant maze. You enter, which you are required to enter because you need to get the key here to open the gate in these levels. So you go through this big ass submarine and get the key. Good, you solved the maze. And now you have to do it in reverse because you have to walk all the way back. You need to do it twice, except I had to do it 3 times because Bubsy fell through the submarine. In total, I believe you have to do this maze 6 times, 2 times for each water level. I think these levels would be fine if the submarine part didn't exist, because other than the submarine, they're mostly pretty
submarine
linear.
is
Though
part of the
unfortunately,
first stage.
that's
You
where
have
my
to go
talk of the
all the
water
way to
levels
the
end,
top.
because
Oh,
the
I
next
hate
2
that.
levels play the same. They are just both big ass, somewhat linear levels, but near the end you have to go in the submarine maze to get a key to progress. That's pretty much all 3 water levels. Basically, in summary, the submarine part sucks. Though I will say this, I think I like the visuals of this level the most, even though it's underwater. It feels the most like Bubsy for some reason. Even the boss here, which is a shrimp, which I died the most on. This boss's hitbox is awful. All you need to do is jump on the tail, but if you're slightly out of the range, you get hit and die. You have to hit the exact spot to deal damage, And you need to do this like 10 to 20 times, all while the giant boss covers 80% of the space you can walk in while he's moving back and forth. This boss is probably the worst in the game, though visually, it's probably the least offensive one so far, but that's pretty much the boss. Level 13 is the final theme. It is a candy theme based off of Hansel and Gretel, though I think that just involved a gingerbread house, not an entire goddamn candy land. Before I continue though, this level and the next two are pretty much the same, so anything I say for this level applies to the last two. You know, I think I've said that for a lot of the worlds. Maybe this is like Bubsy 2. Maybe I'm a liar. A goddamn filthy liar. But anyway, the enemies you see here are this magician thing that I like a lot. I like the way this moves. I don't know why. I also don't know what it even does. These levels also have this weird fork enemy. Also, the wasps are back. Why? They have nothing to do with the theming here. I guess wasps like sugar?
This isn't Block.
Who cares? So these levels have these pop bottles.
It's pop on this channel. Sorry, soda losers.
And they make the cap fly up. You can stand on the cap to get a boost, though if you jump into it when it's already in the air, you take damage. These levels are also full of these red droplets, which look like blood, but they're supposed to be icing. They are kind of hard to see, and they damage you when they hit you, and they drop constantly in spots. It's very annoying. And again, this level goes back to the majority of the levels in these games where you need to go back to hit a switch to open the gate, and you gotta go back and forth over and over again. It's annoying. But after that, we get to the final boss. I don't think Hansel and Gretel were evil, but we kill them anyway to save a sprite that won't fully learn. Both of them just jump up and throw apples. It's pretty annoying when both of them are up. In fact, it is very difficult when both of them are up. But once you jump on one of them enough times, you only have to deal with one, and that makes it a lot easier. Once you beat them both, you save the witch. I think. Isn't she supposed to be evil? Once you do that, you write your name on the leaderboard, and you beat the game with this terrifying sprite art of Bubsy with the text telling you saved the FurryTales from certain destruction. We don't know who caused it, we don't know why Bubsy decided to save it, but that's what happened. And the game ends by saying his catchphrase.
What could possibly go wrong?
Why are these bubbles flying around? Why is his shirt red now? But that is Bubsy 3. No D. Not yet. Bubsy 1, I actually thought was fine. It was their first attempt at the game.
Yes, Bubsy 1 is
not
fine.
Really great, but a good first attempt at trying something. Bubsy 2, I was disappointed in. Not great, just kind of bleh. Didn't follow up on what made Bubsy 1 good. What can you do? Bubsy 3 fucking sucked. It feels like the soul just got ripped out of him. This is the third game in the series. You're telling me no one looked at what made Bubsy 1 and 2 good and decided to prove upon it and get rid of the negatives? It's like they just looked at Bubsy's character and made an entire other game about it. This barely feels like what Bubsy is supposed to be. I hated playing this. It's not even pleasant to look at. Gameplay is bad, level design is bad, music is bland, there's no sound effects at all. The game looks like random assets put into it. It is not a great time. People make fun of Bubsy 1 and 2 for being bad, but ma'am, you should put your attention on this one. There's not a lot of people who have made videos on this one, and now I have to, but I suck at this. This was not an enjoyable time. I hated playing this. I wanted to give up playing this and just quit making this video. I got no enjoyment from this. But is it the worst platformer ever made? Even though I said with a passion, I did not like this. I don't think this is the worst. There are way worse on my channel, but this is up there. This was not a fun experience, and I hope one day Bubsy gets better. We have Bubsy 3D next. I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm gonna use this end bit to critique myself a bit. There's a bunch of exclusive enemies that I said were exclusive that aren't.
That's about it for all of that. That was my reaction to the technically third Bubsy game. Wow, alright, cool, great. Galaxy Wisp is going to continue to say the first one also is just as bad, but I disagree. One day I'll finish it. One day, and then maybe some other day I'll play the demo to the brand new game coming out very soon. Oh, we'll just have to see. Till then, this has been Wii2Play, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy your day. Take care out there, and I will catch ya later.